The envelope felt heavier than it should. I tucked it into my jacket pocket and watched my nephew's BMW pull out of the parking lot, gravel crunching under expensive tires. He'd be back tomorrow, angrier than before. But by then, it wouldn't matter. The scent of cedar still hung in the air around Thompson & Sons Custom Furniture, though we'd closed up shop an hour ago. 42 years I'd been building furniture in this workshop. 42 years of sawdust in my lungs and calluses on my hands. My father started this business in 1958, passed it to me in 1982, and I'd built it into something that mattered. Not just income, but legacy. Every dining table we crafted would outlive me. Every chair would hold generations of family dinners. I thought Jake understood that. I was wrong. Uncle Robert, we need to talk. That's how it started 3 months ago. My sister, Karen's boy, fresh out of business school with an MBA from UCLA and ideas about maximizing market potential. He showed up at the shop wearing a suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Jake, I'd set down my chisel, wiped oak dust from my hands. Good to see you. Your mother mentioned you were back in Portland. Yeah. Well, Seattle didn't work out. He'd glanced around the workshop with barely concealed disappointment. But I've been thinking, this place has potential. You're leaving money on the table, Uncle Robert. Serious money. I should have seen it then. The way he said this place, instead of your business, the way his eyes cataloged everything like an appraiser. We do all right, I'd said carefully. Steady clients, good reputation. All right isn't enough anymore. The custom furniture market is exploding. You could triple your revenue with the right marketing strategy, proper online presence, strategic partnerships. He'd pulled out his laptop right there in my workshop, showed me graphs and projections, growth trajectories, market share analyses, keywords I barely understood. I could help you, he'd said. I've got the business education, the modern skill set you need. We could be partners. That's when I made my mistake. I felt sorry for him. His mother, my sister, had mentioned he'd been fired from 2 tech startups. Girlfriend left him. He seemed lost, looking for purpose. Tell you what, I'd offered. How about you come work here for a while? Learn the business from the ground up. We can talk about the future once you understand how things work. The smile he gave me should have been a warning. Too eager, too calculated. That's perfect, Uncle Robert. Absolutely perfect. For the first month, Jake seemed genuinely interested. He learned to use the basic tools, took orders from clients, handled some of the bookkeeping. I paid him $40 an hour, generous for someone with zero experience in woodworking. But slowly, things changed. Why are you using that old milling machine? He'd ask. You should lease something modern. Write it off. This machine works fine. I bought it 20 years ago, and it'll last 20 more. That's not how business works anymore, Uncle Robert. You need to leverage your assets, take on strategic debt to fuel growth. Strategic debt. I'd built this business by avoiding debt, paid cash for equipment, owned the building outright. No loans, no investors, no one to answer to but my clients and my conscience. Month 2. Jake started arriving late and leaving early. He'd spend hours on his phone during work, claiming he was researching market trends. The other employees began complaining. Maria, my lead finisher, who'd been with me for 15 years, pulled me aside. Boss, Jake's telling clients we're going to start mass production. He's promising delivery times we can't meet. He's damaging our reputation. I confronted him that afternoon. Jake, you can't make promises we can't keep. Every piece we make is custom. That's our brand. Your brand is outdated, he'd snapped. Then, catching himself, softened. I'm sorry. I just see so much potential here. You're thinking too small. Month 3, he stopped pretending. I've been going over the books, he announced one Tuesday morning, not asking, just stating. You're severely undercapitalized. You need to bring in investors or sell equity to fuel expansion. This business doesn't need expansion. It needs to keep doing what it does well. What it does is barely survive. Look at these margins. You're living in the past. I'm living debt-free with a clear conscience and a business that will outlast me. That's not barely surviving. His jaw tightened. You're wasting this opportunity. If you won't modernize, You should let someone who will. Someone younger. Someone who understands the current market. Someone like you? Why not? I've got the education, the vision. You're what, 63? You should be thinking about retirement anyway. That's when I started paying closer attention. Not to what Jake said, but to what he did. I noticed him photographing equipment serial numbers, making copies of client lists, taking meetings on his cell phone in the parking lot, voice urgent and secretive. One Thursday evening, I stayed late. Jake thought I'd gone home. I heard his voice carrying from my office. No, trust me, it's a gold mine. Old man doesn't know what he's sitting on. Building alone is worth $2 million. Easy. Client list is established, wealthy. Equipment's ancient but functional. Yeah, I know. I'm working on it. Once I get partnership papers signed, we can leverage it for a line of credit. Then restructure, modernize, flip it in 2 years. Conservative estimate, $5 million profit. My cut would be, yes, exactly. I stood in the darkened hallway, hand clenched around the doorframe. This wasn't about joining the family business. This was about taking it, stripping it, and selling it off, piece by piece. The next morning, Jake walked into my office without knocking. He'd brought a lawyer. Uncle Robert, this is Mitchell Preston. He's helped me draw up partnership papers. I think you'll find the terms very fair. Preston, silver-haired and shark-eyed, slid a folder across my desk. Mr. Thompson, Jake has explained his situation. Given his contributions to the business over these past months, he believes a 50% equity stake is appropriate. I didn't open the folder. Contributions? He's been an entry-level employee for 3 months. I'm family, Jake said. His voice had lost all pretense of respect. This business should pass to family. You don't have kids, Uncle Robert. Who else would you leave it to? That's my decision to make. Is it? Because at your age, people start to lose their grip, start making poor decisions. It would be a shame if someone had to question your mental competence. There it was. The threat, naked and ugly. Preston cleared his throat. My client simply wants what's fair. A partnership agreement with clear succession planning. If you're unwilling to negotiate, we may need to explore other legal avenues. Elder care concerns, capacity issues. I looked at my nephew, really looked at him. I saw my sister's eyes, but none of her kindness. I saw my brother-in-law's jawline, but none of his integrity. Get out, I said quietly. Uncle Robert, don't be stupid about this. Get out of my office. Get out of my building. You're fired. Jake's face flushed red. You can't fire me. I'm family. Watch me. You've got 10 minutes to collect your things and leave. If you're not gone by then, I'm calling the police. Preston stood smoothly. You're making a mistake, Mr. Thompson. We'll be in touch through official channels. They left, but I knew they'd be back. That night, I sat in my workshop, running my hands over the walnut dining table I'd been crafting. 6 months of work, nearly complete. The client wanted it for his daughter's wedding. Each joint perfect, each curve intentional. This was what I did, not growth strategies or market disruption. I built things that lasted, but Jake had threatened my competence. In Oregon, an elder abuse claim could trigger guardianship proceedings. If he could convince a court I wasn't capable of managing my affairs, he could be appointed my guardian, control my assets, destroy everything. I needed help, real help. Friday morning, I called my attorney, Patricia Wong. We'd known each other 30 years. She'd handled my will, my business incorporation, every legal document I'd ever needed. Patricia, I have a situation. I explained everything. The threats, the overheard phone call, the lawyer's visit. She was quiet for a long moment. Robert, this is serious. He's setting you up. The partnership demand is a trap. If you refuse, he'll file for guardianship claiming you're not competent to make decisions. If you agree, he'll have legal control over half your business and can force decisions you don't want. So what do I do? Document everything. Get witnesses. And Robert, that phone call you overheard? You need to record the next conversation. Oregon is a one-party consent state. If you're part of the conversation, you can legally record it. You want me to trick my nephew into incriminating himself? I want you to protect yourself. If he's planning what you say he's planning, you need evidence. I spent the weekend thinking. Setting up a recording device felt dishonest, sneaky, but letting Jake destroy my life's work felt worse. Monday morning, Jake returned. No lawyer this time, just him and his barely contained rage. I talked to my mother, he said, standing in my office doorway. She thinks you're being unreasonable. She agrees. I should have a stake in the family business. My phone was recording in my shirt pocket. Your mother doesn't make decisions about my business. No, but a judge might. Did you know elder financial abuse is a crime in Oregon? Especially when family members are being unfairly excluded from their inheritance? This isn't your inheritance, Jake. I built this business. I decide what happens to it. He stepped closer. You're 63 years old. You're showing signs of cognitive decline, paranoia, irrational decision-making. My attorney can have testimony from employees about your erratic behavior. What employees? Maria, Tom, Chen? They've been with me for years. They've been with you for years, watching you cling to outdated methods. They'll testify to your incompetence if asked the right questions. Is that a threat? It's a reality check. Sign the partnership papers, Uncle Robert. Make this easy. Or I'll make it very, very hard. I'll file for guardianship. I'll tie this business up in court for years. By the time it's done, there won't be anything left worth fighting over. And if I sign, his smile was predatory. Then we work together. You teach me the business. I modernize it. In a few years, you retire comfortably. Everyone wins. Except I lose control of my own company. You're going to lose it anyway. Age takes everyone eventually. I'm offering you a soft landing. I let the silence stretch. Let him think he was winning. I need to think about it, I finally said. You've got until Friday. After that, the offer expires and things get ugly. He left. I stopped the recording and immediately sent it to Patricia. Her response came within an hour. That's attempted extortion. We can use this. But Robert, don't sign anything. Let me make some calls. Tuesday morning, Patricia called back. I spoke with a friend at the state bar. Preston, Jake's lawyer, has a history of these cases. He targets older business owners, helps younger relatives force them out, takes a percentage of the resulting sales. He's been investigated twice but never charged. So he's done this before. At least 4 times we can confirm. Furniture store in Eugene, machine shop in Salem, a restaurant in Bend, same pattern. Young relative makes partnership demands, threatens guardianship proceedings. Older owner either sells under duress or gets tied up in litigation so expensive they have to sell anyway. My hands felt cold. What do? We go on offense. I'm filing a restraining order based on the extortion attempt. I'm also going to the police with the recording. But Robert, there's something else you need to consider. What? Even if we stop Jake, your business is vulnerable. You don't have succession planning, no clear ownership structure beyond you. If something happens to you tomorrow, this becomes estate property, and Jake, as your nephew, would have a legitimate claim. She was right. I'd spent 40 years building something but never protected it properly. What do you recommend? Several options. You could form an LLC and transfer ownership. You could create a trust. You could sell to your employees. Or, she paused, you could find a buyer who shares your values and sell on your terms while you're still in control. That last option hit me hard. Sell? After 42 years? I need to think about this, Patricia. Think fast. Jake's deadline is Friday. Wednesday, I gathered my employees. Maria, Tom, Chen, and Sandra, my administrative assistant, 4 people who'd been loyal for years, who understood what this business meant. I need to tell you something, I started. Then I explained everything. Jake's threats, the partnership demands, the legal vulnerability. Maria spoke first. That entitled little bastard. Sorry, boss, but that's what he is. Tom, my senior craftsman, shook his head. We've been watching him. The way he talks to clients, like our work isn't good enough. Like we're some rustic curiosity instead of master craftsmen. The question is, I said, what do we do about it? Patricia says even if we stop Jake now, someone else could try the same thing later. I'm 63. I need a real succession plan. Chen, normally quiet, surprised me. What if we bought it? I stared at him. What? Employee buyout. We pool our resources, get a business loan, buy you out over time. You stay on as master craftsman, no management stress. We run it together. No way Jake could claim a stake if we own it. You'd want to do that? Maria nodded. I've got 20,000 in savings. I'd invest it here in a heartbeat. This place is my life too. Tom grinned. I'm in. Always wanted to be a business owner. Sandra pulled out her phone. I know someone at Beneficial State Bank. They do mission-based business lending. Let me make a call. I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. Thursday morning. Sandra had news. Bank's interested. They want to see the books, but preliminary indication is positive. Employee buyouts are their specialty. They're talking a 10-year term, and you could seller finance part of it for better terms. Patricia helped structure it. We'd form an LLC owned equally by the 4 employees. They'd put up 25% in cash. The bank would loan 50%, and I'd carry a note for the remaining 25%, paid out over 10 years. I'd retain a 10% advisory stake and stay on salary as master craftsman. No management duties unless I wanted them. The valuation came back Thursday evening. Fair market value, $2.8 million. With the structure we'd designed, I'd clear about $2.1 million after taxes, spread over 10 years. The employees would own a business worth building, and I'd still come to work every day doing what I loved. Friday morning, Jake walked in at 9 sharp with Preston and partnership papers. Made your decision, Uncle Robert? I smiled. For the first time in weeks, I felt genuinely happy. I have. I'm selling the business. His face went pale. What? Selling? To my employees. We signed the purchase agreement this morning. Preston stepped forward. You can't do that. Your nephew has a legitimate expectation of inheritance. No, Patricia said, entering from the hallway. He doesn't. Robert has the right to sell his business to whomever he chooses. The transaction is legal, completed, and filed with the state. As of 8 a.m. This morning, Robert no longer owns controlling interest in Thompson & Sons Custom Furniture. Jake's jaw worked soundlessly. You can't. I'm family. You were family, I said quietly, until you tried to steal my life's work. Until you threatened me, manipulated me, and made it clear you saw me as nothing but an obstacle to profit. I'll sue. I'll file elder abuse claims. I'll tell everyone you were coerced into this sale. Patricia smiled coldly. Please do, because then I'll introduce this recording to the court. She pulled out her phone, played back Jake's threats from Monday. His own voice filled the office. Things get ugly. Tie this business up in court for years. You're going to lose it anyway. Preston grabbed Jake's arm. Don't say another word. We're leaving. But we can still. Now, Jake. Before you make this worse, they left. The door closed behind them with a soft click. I looked at Patricia. Is it really over? For now. Jake might consult other attorneys, but no one will touch this. You've documented everything. You sold at fair market value to willing buyers. There's no case. Maria appeared in the doorway with the others behind her. So, boss. We were thinking, maybe you should still be boss. I mean, yeah, we own the place now, but you've got 40 years of expertise. How about you stay on as president? Salary and benefits, plus your ownership stake? I thought the whole point was for me to step back. Tom laughed. The point was to keep Jake from destroying what we've built. But we still need you. Just, without the stress of dealing with lawyers and nephews threatening lawsuits. Sandra nodded. Also, Chen and I were thinking about that online marketing stuff Jake mentioned. Turns out he was right about one thing: we could probably reach more clients through social media. We're doing it our way, showing the craftsmanship, the process, not mass production garbage. Slow growth, Chen added. Sustainable, staying true to what makes us special. I felt tears prick my eyes. When my father handed me this business, he said, Robert, the wood doesn't care about your plans. It'll teach you what it wants to become. Your job is to listen. I forgot that for a while. Got worrying about Jake, about the future, about control. And now? Maria asked. Now I remember. This business was never really mine. I was just its caretaker. And I'm honored to pass it to people who understand that. Patricia started gathering her papers. I'll let you listen. Robert, I'm filing a restraining order against Jake anyway. If he comes within 500 feet of this business or contacts you in any way, he'll face contempt charges. Thank you, Patricia, for everything. She paused at the door. You know, my father had a business too. Auto repair shop. When he got sick, his brother convinced him to sign it over, promised to take care of it, sold it 3 months later to a chain and took the money. My father died never knowing. So when you called me about Jake, I knew exactly what we were dealing with. After she left, I walked through the workshop. The smell of sawdust and wood oil, the whir of the lathe, the satisfying bite of chisel into oak, all of it familiar, all of it home. That evening, I called my sister. Karen, we need to talk. Jake already called. Robert, how could you? He's your nephew. He was just trying to help. He was trying to steal from me. He threatened guardianship proceedings if I didn't hand over half my business. Patricia has recordings. Silence. Then softly, "Oh, Robert, I'm so sorry," I thought. He said he wanted to learn from you, to continue the family legacy. He wanted to dismantle it for parts and sell it to investors. When did he become like this? He used to be such a sweet boy. I don't know. But Karen, he needs help. Professional help. This isn't just ambition. This is something darker. I'll talk to him. Try to make him understand. He won't understand. People like Jake don't see other people, just opportunities. But if you can convince him to get counseling, maybe there's hope. We talked for another hour, she cried. I told her I didn't blame her, that she'd raised him the best she could, but I also made it clear that Jake wasn't welcome in my life anymore. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. 3 months later, I was training Maria's nephew, Derek, a recent high school graduate who actually wanted to learn woodworking. Not business strategy or growth hacking. Woodworking. See how the grain runs? I guided his hand along the maple plank. You always want to cut with it, never against. The wood is telling you how it wants to be shaped. Derek nodded, focused. He had good hands and better patience. My mom says your nephew tried to steal your business, he said suddenly. He tried. He failed. Why would family do that? I considered the question carefully. Because some people see everything as transactional. They think the world owes them something. But the truth is, nothing worth having comes from taking. It comes from building, day by day, choice by choice, trying to do good work and treat people fairly. Is that why you sold to the employees instead of keeping it? I didn't sell it, Derek. I passed it on. There's a difference. Selling is a transaction. Passing it on is a trust. I'm trusting Maria, Tom, Chen, and Sandra to care for this business the way I cared for it, the way my father cared for it. And someday, they'll pass it to someone else. Maybe me? I smiled. Maybe you. If you're willing to put in the work. That night, I drove past the building on my way home. The lights were still on. Chen was finishing a rush order, staying late by choice. The sign out front now read Thompson & Sons Custom Furniture, employee owned, since 2024. My phone buzzed. Text from Maria. Just got a commission for a full dining set. $45,000. Client saw Chen's work on Instagram. This online thing might actually work. I texted back. Told you Jake had one good idea. One idea out of 100 terrible ones. I'll take those odds. I pulled into my driveway. Small house, paid off 20 years ago. More than enough space for one person. Inside, I made tea and sat at the kitchen table I'd built in 1987. Solid cherry, joints still tight. There was an envelope on the table. I'd left it there this morning, unopened. Return address. Seattle, Washington. Jake's handwriting. I opened it now. Uncle Robert, I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take accountability. You were right. I wasn't trying to help. I was trying to take what you built and profit from it. I told myself it was business, that you were old-fashioned, that I'd be doing you a favor. But the truth is, I was desperate, broke, fired, feeling like a failure. And when I saw your business, I saw a shortcut, a way to be successful without doing the actual work. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. It doesn't undo what I tried to do, but I'm getting help. Therapy, financial counseling, trying to figure out how to be someone I'm not ashamed of. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I finally understand what I almost destroyed. Your business wasn't just about money. It was about legacy, craftsmanship, things I never learned to value. I hope you're well. I hope the people who bought the business appreciate what they have. And I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Jake. I read it twice, set it down, stared at the wood grain of my table. Patricia said holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Jake had apologized, had admitted what he'd done. That didn't erase it, but it was something. I wrote back, brief and honest. Jake, I received your letter. I appreciate your honesty. Apology accepted, but trust has to be rebuilt through actions, not words. Focus on your healing. Maybe someday we can talk again, but not yet. Uncle Robert. I sealed it, addressed it, left it by the door to mail tomorrow. Then I went to my small workshop in the garage and pulled out a new project. A jewelry box for Maria's daughter's 16th birthday. Walnut and maple, with a secret compartment I'd designed special. The wood smelled alive under my hands. The grain showed me where to cut, and for the first time in months, I felt completely at peace. This business would outlive me. These pieces would outlive me. And maybe, in some small way, the values I'd tried to build into every joint and curve would outlive me too. That was legacy enough. I looked around the workshop, saw my father's old workbench in the corner, saw my tools, organized and maintained, saw 42 years of learning in every scar on the floor, every stain on the walls. Thanks, Dad, I said to the quiet room. You taught me well. And from somewhere deep in memory, I heard his voice. The wood doesn't care about your plans, Robert. It'll teach you what it wants to become. I picked up my chisel and got back to work.